Greetings all in cyberspace. This is another installment of the Blurting Basement Dweller. Hope everyone is doing well, healthy, happy, or at the least not angry about anything. And I'd also like to welcome you to the first day of the rest of your life. Since yesterday, which was September 23rd, 2017, by many people or groups or what have you, had been predicted to be the end of the world again. Yeah, those predictions and prophecies and such, they're numerous. Their recordings or records of them going back for many years. But as you can see, unless something happened while I was asleep or you were asleep or what have you, we were unconscious and we woke up and this is a new world. Maybe yesterday or the last hour, the last minute, the last second, what have you, was the end of the world, and we're in a new world now. So enough of that. Let me get on with what I wanted to make this video about. I'd like to focus on a word that is very relevant to our day-to-day existence, as pretty much as at least the Western, or let's say developed technologically inclined society would use, and that word is value. Value is defined a couple of different ways. One of the definitions of value is that it is the worth of something that can be exchanged for of equal worth or value of something else. And this is leading, or what I want it to lead into, is a discussion about money, the monetary system. Okay, throughout the course of our recorded history of humans or whatever, and considered in what the mainstream, which you have been brought up to understand our monetary system and how that works within our societies and cultures, the effects that it has. For one, it seems to me, and I've mentioned this in a previous video, excuse me, we have there are several different things, and we have systems within systems. I covered that in an earlier video. And as well, we have defined our attitudes and understanding of what money is, for the most part. But it seems to me, over the course of time, and I think it originally came about from the same fundamental concept, the idea of what money can do, or what it is. And we've been gaslighted. I honestly feel that way. We've been gaslighted, and we are continually gas-lit, to say, or we're being gas-lighted by, I'll just say, the establishment. Now, you could put names and titles on what those, what that body of people or what have you that have propagated, cultivated that idea, that thought, that understanding to or within our society, our culture. We've been gaslighted quite a bit, and gaslighting is basically when a person, say you're involved in a relationship, or and this could be an intimate relationship, husband, girlfriend, or husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, those types of relationships, as well as just general relationships, as in friendships, associations, with your people you work with, or the people you live around, or the people that you socialize with. They may or may not be friends, but you do have contact and interactions with them. And so gaslighting is when, say you have a friend, and let's say it's a more serious type of, not to put to say that friendships aren't serious, but let's say in mind is a blank now. An intimate relationship, a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, or whatever, a significant other, type of relationship. And one of the people in the relationship are saying, oh, well, yeah, I'm going to go here and do this, and I'll be back a little bit later, whatever. And then you find out, or whoever the other person in the partnership, the party, the relationship, whatever, they find out that what the person had said, what they were going to do, or what, the reason they were going to do something, or whatever, they find out that, say you find out that that wasn't accurate. It wasn't, they weren't being honest as far as what they said they were going to do, or why they were going to do it, or whatever. And they're confronted, the person that said they were going to do something for whatever reason or what have you, and they are confronted when it's found out that that was not the case at all, that they weren't being honest, and that that other party, they try to shift the perception of the person that is confronting them by saying, oh, well, I didn't say that. That's not exactly what I said. This is what I meant. Or they will say that, oh, well, you're just being ridiculous, or you're crazy. How can you even think that that would be my motive, or that I didn't do this or that, what have you? And the whole idea is to, for the person that is gaslighting another person, what their goal is to make the person that they are doing this to, that it's to keep that person that's being the victim of that gaslighting, it's to keep them unsure of themselves, not quite sure if they really, if they perceived or that they experienced that whatever that situation or what have you, that maybe they weren't right. Oh, well, maybe, it keeps them second guessing themselves, which in turn reduces a person's self-esteem, self-confidence, and what have you. And so what that does is lower or it tries to force that person's conscious, their reasoning, their logic or what have you, their perception, their comprehension of the situation, is to force that down to where that person's not sure, or they question even their own understanding or their own reality, if you will, and that's done for various reasons, but basically it's to have for the person that is doing the gaslighting, it's for them to have a let's say a higher position or a position of more control over the person that they're gaslighting, that they're making that person second guess themselves or what have you. Okay, and so when we look at society as a whole and status quo or mainstream, whatever you want to call it, and here recently, the past, let's say, decade, more and more people are coming across information. It's factual, it's proven information, what have you, either technologically or socially or religiously or what have you, but it's the perspectives, the old paradigms that most people were basically brought into, raised, and have lived within the society or culture, and a lot of the information that they've been taught, grown up with, what have you, been told, or whatever, it has not. They're learning. It's being discovered, or it's coming about. It's coming to light that people have been. This information is not accurate. There have been revisions to this. There is evidence that a lot of the stuff that a lot of people adhere to, that believe in or have faith in or whatever, is not exactly accurate as how they've been, or how this information has been portrayed to them, that they've learned over the course of their lives and have lived through and whatnot. So yeah, I think that we've been gaslighted. I think that as far as getting back to value, I think we have a tendency as a human species that we have been conditioned, very much so, for a very long time, that the value that we consider for ourselves, and I'm talking individually, okay, ourselves. I think that has been eroded. It's been an abrasive system that has gradually and steadily eroded the concept of our selves and the value that we consider ourselves to have, and has been replaced, or is in the process of being replaced, with money, with currency. And I've covered this as well as what I thought actually what currency, it seems to be more in line these days with a pseudo energy, a facsimile of energy. It's a facsimile of, or representation of, our value, our personal value, the value of our being. Okay. And this money that we use that makes things so convenient, these in America and most of the world, and maybe not for too much longer, we've used these pieces of paper with numbers on them, and this is currency, and we have placed over time more and more focus on the fact that these have more value, okay, no matter how many numbers or what have you they have on them. And it could be as well as for pieces of metal, precious metals, silver, gold, platinum, what have you. It's the same thing. It's replacing our value, our worth, with the worth and value of these things that are outside of us. And we are, it seems to be steadily disregarding our value, the value of ourselves. And just as an example, and I'm going to hit on I'll just call it, it's not necessarily religious, but a spiritual perspective, and probably more so from a Christian or Judeo-Christian observation or whatever. And this may not be, a lot of people may not agree with this, but I think you will agree with the concept of what I'm going to say. And that is, humans, we were created and we have what we call a divine spark. Now, if you're atheist, you consider it just, an unknown energy, okay, that makes us human, that gives us the consciousness that we use throughout our life, to communicate, to think, blah, 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 on and on. So we have a divine spark within us. And as Christian Bible says, that, and what Jesus taught was that we seek, the kingdom of heaven is within us. God dwells within us. So if that's the case, okay, using that line of reasoning and logic, how can we, well, it's easy if you look around. Some people may not understand it, some may. But to put more value in the accruement of stuff like these pseudo energies, types of energies, these facsimiles of our value, because basically what it boils down to is that we use our time and our ingenuity, our intelligence to accumulate or accrue these things that are outside of us. And therefore we've put more of a value on these things that we acquire on the outside of us, more so than something that is invaluable, something that there is no price that can be put on it. It's priceless. And that is that divine spark that within us. That is the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of God, however you would like to say that is within us, our being, okay? We are very special creatures, human beings, species, whatever you want to call it. And so that's all I wanted to bring up on this particular video. I'll probably be putting out one or two more shortly. But yeah, what is our value? What do we base our value on? What we can acquire outside of us, the new car, the new house, to this, to that, the new PlayStation, the latest, greatest $1,000 cell phone, the latest service that provides something or whatever. And we have gradually and continuously, steadily moved away from the importance, or considering the importance that we hold, that are each individual, and people value their family. You're married, you have children, you would kill to protect those people in your life. That's how much value you put on those people. But yet, at the same time, that value is being decreased, eroded day by day. Now you say, oh, well, there's no way. Well, yeah, there is a way. Because stuff like this, that is on the outside of us, we're being bombarded with commercials, with propaganda, with ideas, just on and on and on, that keep us striving to acquire and put more value on this type of thing than we do on ourselves and the people that mean a lot to us. And in my opinion, we all should have a great deal of value, or consider all people, to be priceless and basically invaluable. You can put no price on a human being. But as we've seen over and over and over and over again throughout history and presently, that we have been conditioned to think otherwise. That people that have a different idea, people who look different, people who live differently, people, what have you, if they're not with the status quo, the way that most everybody else does, or within a group or whatever, then the people that aren't following that or adhering or what have you to whatever that group think is, then they're basically ostracized, or they're considered to be a threat to the group or what have you. And this comes from ignorance, or whatever. And what that, I believe, stems from is what we call the ego. It's how, the pride, I'm this, I'm that. Hey, I'm proud to be a human being. I'm proud, of my heritage, but I don't place that above anybody else's heritage or anybody else's beliefs or what have you. I understand that everybody's different, but I try to work towards more a more balanced situation and a respectable situation for both whatever parties, however many parties may be involved. I am priceless. My existence is priceless, okay? And I have a hard time having faith that this is of more value than myself or anyone else. I think that absolutely goes against any intelligent, logical, and reasonable, humane concept, okay? Because, and I think we've just gotten so distracted, and it's gotten so, been carried so far along, and it's to the point where it's out of control. It's out of control because we have taken something that is priceless, that's invaluable, and as human beings, as man, okay, in a materialistic mindset or whatever, we have made the value, the invaluable, the priceless, we have put a value on it. We have made it valuable rather than maintain its invaluability, okay? We have reduced it. It's like anything, you extend whatever that resource is past its limits, where it's so dispersed and distributed and actually divided from everything else that it loses value. And I think that's a major condition. The human condition on this planet is that we have constantly degraded the worth, the value of human life, of the individual, of the family, of society, of the culture. And this has been done through a comparatively to the population of the planet, this has been done by a comparatively small population of the planet over the course of time. Okay, it's not one ethnic group, it's not, no, it's generally, okay, generally, no matter what race, where you come from, what culture it is, but slowly but surely, steadily, that value that we are, the invaluability of us, the pricelessness of ourselves, of each individual human being, there cannot be a price put on that, and nothing's focused on that, or if it is, it's done in, much like what I mentioned earlier, in a gaslighting type of situation. We're supposed to live up to high ideals according to, some beliefs or whatever, rituals or whatever it is, but yet on the other side of the token, that's not really sincerely supported by the same groups that are dictating these ideals and such of the ideals that we are supposed to live up to, and instead, again, it's the same thing. It's replaced, rather than uplifting ourselves and the people around us, our species, we uplift pieces, stuff like this, these pseudo value, okay, pseudo value. It's how someone was able to convince another person that their time, their labor, their intelligence, their reasoning abilities, whatever it might be, of that particular person or people's, is regulated down to if you do as we would like for you to do, or that you need to do, then we will exchange that part of your life, that time, your life, what have you, for pieces of paper so that you can acquire, or not even paper, but just say digits on a computer screen, okay? Digits, ones or zeros in a friggin' file, computer file somewhere, binary numbers, whatever. And we have been hoodwinked, gaslighted into believing that this stuff holds more value than our persons do, okay? The spark that is within us. We are priceless, okay? And the sooner that we realize that and understand it, now you'll go and you'll talk to somebody, oh, well, this is what, this is, and they'll say, you're ridiculous, that's being ridiculous. No, you are worth more than anything. And they'll say, and that's what so-and-so said, that's what's recorded, that's what the big guy said, or whoever. But yet, they're not practicing that. They're not supporting that. They're not sincere about that. And the reason that is, from my point of view, my perspective, my opinion, is because it's for whatever reason, that insincerity, that misinformation, misdirection, whatever you want to call it, a lot of it is ignorance. These people that are espousing that this is the way it should be done, that's the way it should be done, but yet there's been no improvement in that sense. And again, no one hardly ever describes the situation in a way that totally negates what stuff like this does. And people will argue and say, oh, well, money does a lot of good things. Well, I challenge you to go back through history. Now, don't just breeze over it and spend 10 minutes on it. Think about it. Think deeply about it. From time, whatever, since they started exchanging things that people thought that were convinced that had value for their life, for portions of their life, okay, allotments of their life, the time, the thought, the energy, the intelligence, whatever it might be, the decisions they made, the labor, whatever it is, and to exchange their life, for something that has that only has a value that someone has thought that, said, oh, well, if I can convince somebody that this pretty piece of paper, linen paper, that's printed with this ink and has all these designs, or even the digit on the computer screen or whatever, if I can convince people that has more value and is worth more than that person's life, that is worth more than that person's inner spark, that is worth more than that kingdom of God, kingdom of heaven, whatever you want to call it, within them, then I might just be able to accrue more and more and more. And if they're not a benevolent type of person with a benevolent type of mindset, then all they're going to be interested is acquiring more and more and more of these. And at the same time, if they can work it into the deal, accrue more of these or acquire more of these, and have people have servants, have slaves, that they don't even have to worry about exchanging this stuff. They can just convince them that, hey, I'm more powerful than you. I have more of a right to have what I have than you do. Then therefore, if you don't do this, you're worthless anyway. So either you do this, or I put no value on your life at all, and I'll kill you. Okay? So, or, you know, what have you. I'll throw you in a cage and starve you to death, or only give you bread and water, or, you know, some crap like that. But that has gone on and on and on. And we're seeing now that whole mindset, that whole whatever, it's collapsing because there are more and more people that are realizing that this whole thing is a sham. They're realizing, and they may not know what the definition of gaslighting is. They may not, you know, think of it in those terms. They just feel that they're being crapped on, and they feel that they have no value. Or if they do have value, they have very little value. And they're thinking that way because someone else has conditioned them to feel that way, you know, by whatever means. And they don't stop and think. Their ego kicks in and says, hey, well, I'm this and I'm that. I don't do it. Yeah, okay, well, that's good. You know, that's a good thing of the ego. But when that's taken too far or left to rage out of control, that same ego is the same thing that drove that person that's convincing someone that this has more value than the person that they're dealing with. This has more value. This has, you know, can do more good than what that person, the value of that person, you know, that they're enslaving or that they are giving not a fair amount of this for the you know, the time of these people, of the person's life that they are extracting. Okay, so yeah, I just want to talk about that a little bit, and like I said, I probably got another video that I'm going to do. So anyway, like I said at the beginning, please enjoy the first day of the rest of your life. If the world did end yesterday, enjoy the rest of this new world, this new existence that we are existing in now. And look at the positive side of things. Work on, you know, your understanding. What do you actually believe? What, you know, you look around and you say, oh my God, the world is crazy. Well, you don't have to be crazy. And not everybody is crazy. There are a lot of people out here that are, and more every day, are waking up to these facts that are becoming very well known. And I think that is some of the reason why things seem to be so chaotic and such, is because these people that have, or groups or what have you, these entities that have been in control or had as much influence as they have on the systems that, you know, are trying to replace this, you know, use this as a value rather than use people, you know, the priceless, okay, the priceless people, the spark, you know, the divine spark, the kingdom of God, the people that are trying to exchange, or not exchange, because you can't even exchange it. It's just trying to get people to believe that you have less value as an individual, you know, your family, your whatever, your group, whatever you want to call it. You are of less value than either the people that are trying to convince you of that, or the thing that they're trying to convince you of that has more value, and that's this crap. Okay, this is crap. All right. It's oh, and I didn't finish saying. So you can go look, and if you do the research and look at the good things that money has done, and then look at the bad or the not good things that money has done. I'm going to hazard to say that I'm sure you'll find that there has been a lot more things done that take away, that distract and divide us, the human species, and detract from our value, okay, or that try to convince us that we aren't worth, we have no worth, we have no value other than what they determine that we have. And that's bullshit, okay? Now, granted, they're just as valuable as us, okay? Or of people, those people are just as valuable as any other person. It's just that they are more manipulative, they have a different perspective on life or what have you, but irregardless, I am worth more than this. You are worth more than this. There can be no value put on you. And then that brings up the fact. Insurance, life insurance. Wow. Okay. That's, how blatant is that? You pay us this much per month, and you get a better rate if you are living your life more like what we think you should live it, then it's not going to cost you as much to insure your life, okay, than if you're doing things that we don't approve of. And in a lot of cases, we won't even give you, allow you to purchase an insurance, life insurance policy, because we just don't want to. And see, so that takes this thing even down to the, because life insurance, that's how they promote it, is, oh, you want your family to be, taken care of. You don't want them to worry. You don't want them to. It's a scam. It is a total scam. It is gaslighting. The whole system, it's gaslighting. And I spoke in an earlier video, it's systems within systems, within systems, within systems, on and on and on. And it's become so convoluted and so difficult to understand, so complicated. And it's destroying them. It's destroying these people that think this way, that had these ideas, because it's not right, okay? It's not correct. It's not the way that it was designed, that human life, the planet, what have you, was supposed to happen, okay? People say, oh, well, if it wasn't for money, we would have never done it. No, we would have. And we would have gotten there in a much more organized, better, more efficient way. It may not have been as quick, but we wouldn't have been going through, the world wouldn't be going through the situation that it is right now, as far as coming to terms with, wow, we've been gaslighted, we have been fooled, we have been taken advantage of for a very long time by a very small group of people. And like I said, this stretches over all races, what have you, all cultures, all societies. It's the same thing. And it's like rot, It's just like one bad apple don't spoil a whole bunch of girls. Well, hey, you put a piece of rotten fruit in your bowl on the table and see how long it takes the rot from that one piece of fruit to spread to the whole bowl and ruin everything. And that's what's happening. It's got to be, the system it's so far, it's so decayed, it's so rotted, that basically it's like you have to trim, like gangrene. You have to take all of it out, amputate, whatever, cut it off, stop it in its tracks. You'll never regain all that you had to cut out. But to keep it from spreading and being fatal, that has to be done. Now, I think that humans are very resilient. I think that there are a lot of technologies. Now, we might not hear about it in mainstream, but there is a lot of knowledge. There's a lot of things that have been discussed, that have been discovered, that have been refined, that have been researched, that most people we don't know about. We hadn't heard that they know about it, but the fact is that they do. Because if you look back over the past, just as an example, 100 years, and the advancements that humanity has made in 100 years technologically, it's unbelievable. But yet, it's like we got stuck, in the mud right over the hump. We got stuck in a mud puddle once we got over the hump, and we've been basically left to just wallow in this mud puddle. The majority of the people have, and like the petroleum, we're still using 100-year-old technology for that stuff, and the reason that is because there are very wealthy, influential, powerful, whatever groups or people or whatever, that they invested the whole kit and caboodle in and crap like this, so that they benefit, because hey, it only takes a few 100,000 people or whatever that they can pay with crap like this, because those people are convinced that are doing stuff for these small groups of people or individuals.